a lot of people who live like in Wisconsin still, but like more towards the Illinois border. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm from Chicago. I'm like, shut up. You're from the middle of nowhere. You're in between. You're in between Milwaukee and Chicago in a
Right.
cornfield somewhere.
How are you today? This is Adam Cameron from Cold Shoulder, coming at you from downtown Canada, and you're listening to the Scoped Exposure Podcast.
Okay, other than that, I think I'm ready to rock if you are, dude.
Yeah, let's get after it.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. This is another episode of the Scoped Exposure Podcast. We go from Calgary all the way down to Milwaukee to chat with a homie, a good friend, Jimmy, of Low End Judiciary. Too many bands to name, ultimately. Thanks for coming on the show.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, I'm very excited as well. As we had a little bit of a break between season 1 and season 2 as I was kind of writing down a bunch of different guests that I want to hit up. Jimmy was one of those guests for sure. Ironically, just a couple days ago, I did like we had a little bit of a lull for our Friday episode. So I was like, give me a number between 1 and 113, because that's how many episodes we've done so far. And I'll just give you an episode. And someone had selected the episode that Mitch was on, which was episode 4. And I think there was a slight thing of you maybe coming on that, but I think it was like, like Mitch is in the middle of an interview. I won't crash that. But now we're here doing one exclusively on you. So funny to have
I'm
that little
excited.
flashback.
That was a funny situation. I remember us like Mitch is like one of those dudes where he's one of my best friends. I love him to death, but he's the punching bag of the band.
Of course. Yeah.
And that day specifically, I just remember us all gang up on him so hard for something. I don't really recall what it was, but we were kind of picking on him while the interview was happening and just like making faces and shit in the background. And I was like, dude, like let's just give him a second, have his moment, like do that thing. So yeah, I'm excited. It kind of came full circle.
Of course. Yeah. It's kind of funny how, I remember even Nathan from Stepping Stone was also kind of like in the background trying to goof around. And you can hear and see that in some of the episodes because we were just recording in the back of your guys' trailer. But in addition to that, also having just like, a homeless straggler kind of just like not really sure what was happening and not really aware that you should just fuck off if you're not gonna like join the episode or whatever. But yeah, that was really funny. And yeah, super glad to talk about the number of bands that you're a part of, not just Low End. But yeah, I'm excited to do some of those things. But before we get going, as you know, we do a episode bev check. So you're enjoying, for the audio listeners, Jimmy is, sunglasses are on. It's nice and sunny out where he's at. So what are you checking on the show today?
I'm like I need a minimum of 3 beverages at all time. I stay sipping. So we got the regular Nalgene water. Got to keep hydrated with that. Got the fizzy bubbly water, the blackberry.
Okay.
This is the jam. And then my favorite coffee shop, Milwaukee, one of them is Anodyne Coffee. It's they have this drink called the Bee Sting, which is like it's just a honey latte with vanilla in it, but there's like 4 shots of espresso, and it just makes you go fucking crazy. So.
Dude, that actually sounds
happy Saturday.
Unreal. Yeah. Pinkies up. No, it's funny.
Pinky
I've had a couple people on the show being like, I'm bringing 2 bevs if that's okay. And it's like, it's always funny with like, I'm just waiting for the episode where someone's just bringing like a tray of like 12 beverages and they're all like half drank or whatever. Yeah, the Nalgene, the color of that water bottle is good in my opinion. Big fan of the color orange, if that wasn't apparent.
Oh yeah.
the blackberry seems to be, the top bubbly flavor that a lot of people seem to rep when they check something like that.
Dude is amazing.
And yeah, and it's not one that we have, to my knowledge, up here in Canada, unfortunately.
Really?
Yeah.
What's your go-to seltzer up there?
I've been recently doing a lot of Liquid Death, which I guess, I don't
Oh
know,
yeah,
does that
yeah,
count as a seltzer, I guess?
yeah. I'd say it's a seltzer. It's
Okay.
not like
I guess, like,
it's
is
not
the
flavored, right?
definition of no, it's just like sparkling water. So I
Yeah,
guess
yeah.
a seltzer means sparkling water, but with a flavor, I guess, if that's right.
I think it's all under the same umbrella. Liquid Death is just the coolest one.
Yeah, right.
It just
I
looks badass.
Yeah, by the time this episode is out, I actually did an interview with their VP of marketing, and we talked a lot about, the brand and, just their overall efforts for, kind of pushing the message forward of like death to plastic, because, just breaking down how aluminum is like this infinitely recyclable thing versus like plastics, don't get
Right.
recycled as much as, maybe the media or whoever will talk about it. So that will be already out by the time this episode
That's
comes out.
dope.
But that's,
I didn't
yeah.
do it together. I just thought it was like a couple metalheads that were like, let's just make seltzer.
Yeah, no, there was a bunch of cool aspects of that. I can't say we're officially sponsored by them yet, but Sticks, shout out to him. He's like, just let me know when you're low and I'll send some to you. So hopefully,
Hell yeah.
in 6 months to a year we can lock that in. But yeah, I'm stoked on that. Speaking of actual Bev sponsors for our episode, I'm drinking a New England cider from our friends at Say When. So, no, sorry, Say When. What am I talking about? New Level. So, New Level is a Bev sponsor of ours, brewery here in Calgary. They started doing these ciders as like a limited run kind of thing. It's not like something that they're going to be. They're always like kind of doing like limited stuff, and this was so much a go-to
Sorry,
that
hold on
me
one
and my
second, man.
wife.
The Wi-Fi is being all okay
You
here.
gotta move closer to the signal.
Yeah.
Better.
I live in I live in an apartment that's like there's people coming and going all the time, so I needed to escape to the backyard.
No, that's fair. Yeah. So yeah, I'm checking this. Like it is so good that it's me and my wife kind of kerned through these, and I was like, I haven't done an episode yet where I checked one of these, so I had to go and splurge some money just to have that, as it's an item in the fridge that I regularly want to stock. But yeah, that's what I'm checking. Yeah, we got 4 bevs between the two of us, which is nice, and a good amount, I would say.
You're hydrated as hell. Hold on,
Yes,
I'm gonna grab my beverage quick. I left it over here.
yeah. Yeah, we had to move, and then Jimmy, can't do the phone and the beverages all at once. It's got to be multiple trips.
It's so many beverages. I don't know what to do with myself.
Can you hold
Here.
that up so I can take a screenshot for when this episode
Oh, yeah.
drops, and it's just you and love that. Cool.
Cheers, mate.
Let's cheers. Bam. So Jimmy, I know you've heard a number of episodes on our podcast, kind of know the overall vibe of how we start to get into the conversation about music. Give me some context about how you discovered hardcore, how you discovered just metal, heavier music. Take us way back in time, and tell me some of those like formative moments and records for you.
If we're scaling it like way back, my real introduction to heavy music was there was this dude I would hang out with in middle school. He was like my middle school was like kind of like nose in the air, like snooty motherfuckers, and I just didn't know where I fit in any of that.
Sure.
And his name was Tim, and he had super long hair. He always wore like work boots, and he had like a Slayer or Death shirt on all the time. And I was like, this dude seems weird as fuck, and I'm kind of about it. So we started hanging out, and his parents, I think his dad was like a huge metalhead. So his living room was like a massive Slayer banner, and there was all
Mm.
these like trophy deer that he'd murdered in previous years,
Oh,
and it was
okay.
just a weird vibe, right? And I was like, I'm strangely allured to this dude, and he had a barn on his property, and that's where we would like hang out most of the time. We would just go like drink PBRs and do like 15-year-old stuff, and
Mhm.
yeah, and we had a boombox, and I remember him playing like uh really like Metallica, Slayer, like the big four for sure. I was
Mhm.
already kind of familiar with that. Uh, but then he started being like, yo, this is Cannibal Corpse. I was like, that sounds crazy. What a
Right.
name. And I didn't get it at first. It was just like a little bit too aggressive for my palate at the time.
Sure.
Um, but there were bands that he really liked that I kind of got really into, like As I Lay Dying and like Atreyu and shit like
Mhm.
that. Which had like those clean chorus parts because I kind of came from like the punk rock side of things. Like insert Tony Hawk Pro Skater soundtrack. That's what I was jamming for
Of
sure.
course. Yes. Mhm.
Uh, so things that were kind of parallel to that, or like a transition from that, is kind of where I started chewing on the stuff. And then yeah, we stopped hanging out in his barn, and I started going to shows. Uh, he didn't bring me to my first show. It was just some other like mutual high school friend. There's this venue in Milwaukee called the Miramar, and
Okay.
now it's just mostly like an EDM place. But yeah, I just grew up at that place. So like every weekend, it was like the same circulation of 10 bands playing, like all like metal and
Mhm.
death metal bands, and yeah, we just go hang out, and I just fucking loved it. It was like, I'm sure you can relate to it. It was like the first time being in an environment where you're just like, there's that visceral, like intense feeling in the room when a band is playing. You're just
Mhm.
like, this is fucking crazy. I'm gonna do
Yes.
this all the time. Uh,
Of course. Yeah.
yeah, and I mean, I've been playing guitar. I started playing guitar when I was probably in like fifth grade, or way young, and
Mhm.
yeah, so it just kind of naturally happened to where my development and like getting into heavy music was just like, I want to like do that, have that feeling all the time. You know, I want to be like the one creating that environment. So it kind of just worked out. I mean, there's obviously a lot to unpack there of how that all came into fruition, but
Right.
that's the short version.
Yeah, no, there's a couple things I want to break down there. So the first, this just being serendipitous of our lives being totally separate in different areas of the world. But I was picking up coffee this morning, and the barista randomly asked me, "Is like, oh, can you recommend some stuff to play in the shop?" Because I guess he was playing something that a client or a customer from the day before was recommending, and he's like, obviously like something that's cafe friendly, and I was like, so not Cannibal Corpse, and he's just like, I don't know what that is, but like probably not. So
Yeah,
I definitely
don't play that in
think
the coffee shop.
yes, of course. Yeah, like there might be some sick ass coffee shops that are playing the new Cannibal Corpse record that came out a
It's
couple days ago,
really
but
fucking good.
yeah, I haven't had the time yet to like sit down and like listen to it as like a front to back kind of thing, but yeah, like I think yeah, I'm very excited to check that out. I do think that some of those names, at least, growing up for me, were kind of the same thing where it's like I don't know what this means, but I kind of like I know how it feels, and it's like interesting in that way, and you start to unpack that.
Yeah.
Um yeah, yeah. It's funny to hear just like even just like going even further back, just like being in those high schools where like you kind of feel like outcasted, but you're like, okay, like I don't think I'm like an insane loser for just like liking music or maybe not liking to be on every sports team or go out and partying and things like that. So that was always strange for me growing up, and I think it was through like you said, like finding an energy through music, and then as soon as you go to that one show where you can see it and feel it, it kind of seals the deal forever.
Right. It just all kind of like clicks, and you're like, okay, this is like
Hmm.
that one void, that like sense of like, oh, I'm doing something interesting. I'm doing something that's like out of the norm. You're just like, I'm just gonna
Hmm.
gobble that shit up, you know?
Yeah, I think that there's like a few like nails that get plunged into the coffin where it's like you feel that energy, so you want to be surrounded by it more and have more experiences like that versus like that 20-minute block of just pure insanity. But then you start to learn, the ethics and the political standing of a lot of bands, and you're like, oh, like I either A, didn't know about this, or B, like this matters to me as well, and then that kind of galvanizes it and locks it in even further.
For sure.
Um,
I think there's bands that like I attached to a little bit later on that had more of like that message or the thing they were trying to convey lyrically. Um,
mhm.
at the time, like when I was in that state, I was just like, I'm gonna go to shows and just fucking act like an asshole. Uh, I wasn't mature enough to like wrap my head around like, oh, this is like a very political band, or like this is like a, you know, this is so sad, like shit
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. It's like as you kind of as your musical palette matures, you kind of latch onto things like that more. I kind of miss. I'm not gonna say kind of. I do miss that feeling though of just like having never played in bands and going to a show where one or two people, and
Mm.
it's just like that pure intensity of just like, this is gonna be fucking crazy. And now, I mean, I still obviously love playing and going to shows, but it's not quite the same, if especially if I'm playing, because there's a lot of components that need like, okay, how's merch doing, like what's going on over here.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
It's like
It's
there's a
not as
lot.
blissful.
Right. I'm not there to
Yeah.
just act like a complete asshole. uh
Right.
you know
Yeah, I think it is kind of funny in the sense of, yeah, I think that's an interesting point where, the first couple shows that either you're playing, the first time you're playing a show like out of town and people are freaking out to your band and you're like this is so mind-blowing, or even just like the first couple shows where you maybe only came with a friend, or you literally came with no one and you're just like standing in the corner like, I'm just waiting for the bands to start so I can
right.
act the fool or whatever.
Just sitting
Um,
there so nervously in the corner by yourself, like, okay, yeah,
yeah.
not anybody here.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I think, yeah, yeah, it is such a weird thing where like that is one of those things, being older now where I see someone that I don't recognize at shows and I'm like, I try my very best to at least like, hey, like I randomly like the first Endgame show I went up to, this dude who again was just standing by himself. I was like, yo, like, how's it going? And this is someone who was like a little closer to my dad's age than like, being a younger kid. So I was like kind of
Yeah, yeah.
like, what's kind of the vibe here? And like he randomly found the uh the show through Facebook, and he was like, yeah, like all ages. I thought that was kind of cool, so I thought I'd come check it out. I don't know if he's ever going to come back to a hardcore show again, but you never know some of those things
Yeah,
unless
that's
you act
badass.
on them. Yeah.
It's also interesting to think about. I feel like, when you and I started going to shows, applying it to right now, nobody did that for people like us going to shows. There was never like the older crowd
Right.
coming up to younger kids being like, hey, what's up? Like, I've never seen you before. Now, like
Hmm.
me and my friends in Milwaukee who are relatively the same age, like we'll just do that left and right, because obviously that's how like, shows get bigger, scenes grow, they bring their friends. But like that was never a thing when I was younger. And I'm sure it was the same for you. Everybody was just like, who the fuck is this kid? Get the fuck
Right.
out of here.
Yeah, or even
Yeah.
just the accessibility of like I can go to the merch table and be socially awkward to like some dude in a super big band. Like even, I had like Brendan from Counterparts come on the podcast, and I remember like going to like Counterpart shows growing up being like, "Oh, like Brendan is this rock star. He's like super," but like I remember being able to I flew down, they played a show in not Peoria. What is somewhere in Phoenix, and it was a random kind of bill package. I can't remember all the bands, but I know there was a band called Capsize that was playing with them, and I went
Was
up to,
that
and
at
I
was that in Mesa at the Nile?
yes, Yeah, and
Okay.
so the Nile is like the upstairs big venue, which
Yeah.
there
They're in the
was another
basement.
show. Yeah, it was in the basement, so the underground, I think it's called.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I got a
I
funny
think
story for you after this.
Okay, yeah, please do. Because yeah, I flew in. Like my folks have a place down there, and they were like, "We're gonna do this family trip." I'm like, "I'm gonna fly out 2 days earlier so I can see counterparts," and they're like, "Okay, sure, whatever." So I flew down there. I remember I went from the airport straight to the venue, and I asked one of the venue people if I could like leave my suitcase with like my clothes for like the
Yeah.
week, like behind there, so I didn't have to like just like carry that around with me. And
Right.
so yeah, Counterparts was playing downstairs. Um, Super funny that there was a show in the Nile Theater, which is the bigger venue for those that don't know about it. I think it was like Dance Gavin Dance and like all these crazy like tech bands. But yeah, it was like really funny. But I remember going up to Brendan. I was like, "Yo, man, like, how's it going?" I was like, "This, like, this is super random. Like, I just wanted to let you know that another Canadian was in your midst." And he was like, "Oh, dude, like, we've had some really crazy American like interactions in the last week, so it's nice to see a familiar
Yeah,
face."
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, we just like, having him on the podcast again was just like kind of, I think as you get older, like you were saying, like maybe there's not that I guess that innocence when it comes to like going to a show and just like, whoa,
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
is so crazy. But there's also like an added layer of like, I'm sure when you were playing LDB 2020, um, just to be able to look out and see so many of your friends just makes that almost like heightens that experience in a new way as well.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's like it's like the complete opposite end of the book, you know. It's like, all right, well, I've made it through being taunted and getting the shit kicked out of me for so many years, and now I'm just like, now I'm the old guy. It's fucking weird. But
Yeah. So
yeah,
what's
man.
the Nile story? Hit me with that.
Before I touch on that, Brendan from
Oh yeah,
Counterparts is an amazing human. I fucking love that guy. He's so nice.
of course.
Uh,
Yeah.
but so the Nile story, it was our first time playing there. It was with Cross Me, and same situation. Like I don't know how. It must have been the only venue available, but like we're like, oh shit, we're playing the fucking Nile. That's weird. That's a really big place.
Right.
And so we're playing the basement, and it's funny. I did an interview recently for like some other zine, and I was like, I can go on for days about the worst shows I ever played. But this is one that popped in my brain. It was Basement of the Nile. We played to Mitch's aunt and the sound guy,
Oh.
and it was something. Uh,
Oh no.
but they were like, yeah, are you gonna like set up and play? I was like, are you sure we need to? But
Is there a
upstairs
requirement?
playing was I think it was what the fuck is that band called? Like Moths to Flames.
Oh, okay. So
So
like some Rise Core-esque band just upstairs.
yeah, and it's funny. I think like I don't know what it is with Mitch, but like he will get along and be best friends with any drummer ever. He like just like they gravitate and they just do the thing.
Yes.
So we go upstairs and like Moss to Flames is playing. I think they're on tour with Hawthorne Heights. It was some weird package like that.
Whoa.
And
Okay.
yeah, it
Very
was an
seen.
interesting thing. Yeah. And Mitch makes friends with the drummer of like Moss to Flames. And meanwhile, I'm in the parking lot like loading up our gear. I was like, well, that was just the worst fucking thing I've ever done. Like whatever. And I go upstairs and that band's playing and Mitch is standing like next to the drummer and he's like wearing a Cross Me shirt as he's playing, the drummer from like Moss to Flames. I was like, how the fuck did that happen? That's fucking weird. Yeah, it was an interesting experience just playing one of the worst shows ever and then watching like Moss to Flames immediately after.
Yeah, that is wild. Uh like like I'm not educated enough to really speak on anything Arizona scene activity wise. Like there is a plethora of really cool bands from Arizona that I really
Yeah,
like Easy Money, Arms Reach is another one that comes to mind that has been put onto my radar kind of recently. But yeah, like
beautiful ones,
I
man.
think yeah. Oh, Beautiful Ones. That's right. Yeah.
Dude, they're so good.
Are they straight from Mesa as well? Or are
I
they
think I think they're all spread around now. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, like Mesa, Phoenix area.
yeah, Phoenix is so like confusing for someone that grew up in is like this is the city, but like
Yeah,
Phoenix is like has cities like attached to them. So
it's
I
really
don't know.
bizarre. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's
If
not a lot of
someone
places
from
like that. Like even in like California, like uh there's like little burbs and there's like towns like around LA or like little neighborhoods or whatever, but like it's
Mhm.
all like Los Angeles, right?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
those are literally like separate cities from each other, and it's fucking confusing as
Yeah.
hell.
Yeah, I think like any of my Ontario friends who are listening, like, people that live in like little pockets around Toronto usually say like I'm from the GTA, like the greater Toronto area.
Hmm.
But I think it's just very easy. It's easier, at least in my experience, just to be like, here's the ring road, and anyone who's inside of that can say they're from that city versus
From
like,
Toronto, yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, that's
We get
all that's all
that a
super
lot. We
funny.
get that a lot in Milwaukee because we're so close to Chicago. So
Right.
a lot of people who live like in Wisconsin still, but like more towards the Illinois border, they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm from Chicago." I'm like, "Shut up! You're from the middle of nowhere. You're in between. You're in between Milwaukee and Chicago in a
Right.
cornfield somewhere."
Yeah, and maybe that's a great transition because like I know definitely want to chat about the specific bands you're a part of, but I think just talking Milwaukee would kind of be a nice kind of like laying the foundation of that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think in the last couple years, like since like kind of when I think about when I started kind of getting into hardcore, like I remember seeing Cross Me for the first time. I think you guys came through and played Winnipeg. I want to say like 2016.
Yeah,
I'm
it
not
sounds
sure
like
if that's the right
2015,
year.
2016, I think.
Yes, yeah. It was before I was filming shows. So I think it was either 2015 or 2016. I think I have a photo from that show on my Instagram or something because
Hell
again, I
yeah.
was like blown away by the riffs so early on.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, like I think since if you want to even say from that point to now, I think the Midwest in general has gotten a lot more recognition and attention, not just from the bands that are coming up from these areas, but also like LDB Fest and LDB records and all those kind of things. So yeah, just talk to me about just like being a local to Milwaukee and just like being kind of where you guys are positioned geographically, like you know what are the pros and cons, and do you feel like you're getting more recognition over the years, or is there still dues to be given from that?
Yeah. Uh, to try to spare you like the hour and a half I could talk about it. When I first started coming around to like going to Milwaukee, like hardcore shows, like proper
Mm,
hardcore shows, um, there would be tour packages that would come through that like one that comes to mind is like Brace War and Naysayer. Like they would come through on a tour, and we had this venue called the Borg Ward, which had been around for forever.
mm.
Um, and there's like 13 people there, and we'd all look around and be like, "It's a good show. It's a good turnout. You know,
Right, right.
this is fucking dope. 13 of us.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah." Um, but yeah, so it was just a relatively small thing, and I think a huge contributing factor for speaking to like just Milwaukee was Expired. Um, so like there was no scene that existed here when that band started. So they played their first show with like a bunch of metalcore bands in Milwaukee, and then
Mm.
just started touring and didn't play Milwaukee again for 4 years. Uh,
Oh, really? Wow.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So they were touring so much, and I think uh, the fact that they were building so much as a band, people were like, "Oh, who's this band Expired? Where the fuck are they from? Milwaukee?" It was the
Mm.
equivalent of being like, "Oh, you're from there's this band's huge and they're from Boise." It's like something like that.
Right.
Like
Right. Right.
there wasn't a lot happening. But yeah, I think with Expire gaining momentum in the hardcore world, um, and also like Crosby had started at that point, and uh, I was living with all the dudes who played in Expire, so it was just like one big like tour house essentially. Like there was
Mhm.
bass cabs being rolled in and out at every moment of the day.
Oh,
And
really?
like,
You're just like
yeah,
asleep and all you hear is like just
oh yeah,
rolling on the
like
floor.
especially between and also Focused Minds. Uh, some of the dudes lived here as well. So between all
Mhm.
those bands, it was just like the living room was more or less just like a merch station, just boxes
Sure.
of Gildan shit. Um, but yeah, I think all those bands paired with a couple of promoters who were like really hungry, really started to like grow Milwaukee into being like, oh, this is like a place you could play, and it's not going to be 13 people, you know.
Mhm.
And I think it really started to kind of take hold. Well, there's always been like a connection between Milwaukee and Chicago because we would never get the big tour packages because we're not like an A market city. So
Right.
we would always hike it down to Chicago and just that's where we could go fucking see the Madballs and the Cro-Mags and the Life and Death tours and all that stuff.
Mhm.
So like we were always good friends with like a bunch of people down there, and I think same with Northwest Indiana later on. But I think between that kind of big U, Minneapolis, all the way to Northwest Indiana, it's for this part of the Midwest just like really started to grow exponentially
Mhm.
and get some recognition. But I think touching on what you said, it was like the perfect cocktail situation of like all of these things happening and all these bands starting that are like really fucking good and like uh, even like years after Crossman started touring heavy, like bands like Karma popping up and
Mhm.
Purgatory and like everybody's just fucking crushing it. Pair that with Ryan and Alex starting to do LDB
Yes.
and that just growing exponentially through the years. It's also really fucking, it's really crazy to think about. It makes me feel so old that started like fucking, what was it, 7 years ago, 6 years ago at this point? LDB Fest.
LDB Fest. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That. Yeah, that's
That's
putting a
that's
stamp of time on both of our birth certificates for sure.
that's gross, man.
Yeah.
But
Just
yeah,
this
dude, like
rusty old machine, still into
yeah.
hardcore.
But honestly, I think the uh, anything just talking the Midwest, the two huge things that made it get recognition and made it get to where it's at right now is LDB Fest and Knock Loose. Like Knock Loose is a force that's just like it's fucking insane. Like watching where they've come from to where they're at right now, and none of them being cocksuckers, and they're all genuine
Right.
dudes, and they just like you're like, yeah, we're just playing this fucking cool like crossover between metalcore, hardcore thing,
Right.
and we just love hardcore music and we just are genuine dudes. I think like
Hmm.
that gave them the ability to grow even faster because they never had an ego about them and it all kind of came full circle where it's just like same thing with like Milwaukee is like where are they from? Louisville?
Right.
Like it's like oh shit. So that
Yeah.
whole that whole thing kind of just skyrocketed the whole Midwest.
I think, growing up in a scene, especially like from Winnipeg, where it's like, oh, wait, where are you from? I always thought that like the weirder the town or the city was, or the lesser known it was, the cooler it was when you're like announcing that. Like, I'll even
Mhm.
shout out, there's a new hardcore radio show podcast called Marked for Life, and Davin was talking about just how hardcore as a genre is so interesting, where people just love to rep where they're from, and it's
Yeah.
not even just like here's my state. Like some people will get so specific off of like I'm from Victorville, California. Like
Yeah.
so, and you're like, where the fuck is that? And then you go on Google Maps and you're like, oh, this
Oh,
tiny little pocket.
just this
But yeah,
little
like
blip.
yeah, like there is no other genre out there that is like repping the area codes, like where they're from, and putting that on their t-shirts. Like
Right.
you wouldn't catch Cannibal Corpse dead in their tracks if they were like doing that, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and
Yeah.
touching on that, like Knock Loose again from Oldham. I when I first saw that, I was like, Old Ham? Why are they printing shit with Old Ham on it? I'm
Right.
dumb and I can't read. And I didn't know the context of what it was, but that's like the county.
Right.
I was like,
Right.
Oh, they're repping the fucking thing. They're not.
Spoiled meat county? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, I was like,
Right.
interesting. That's I mean, it's good marketing. Everybody's gonna look at it and be like, "What the fuck is that?" But
Right. Yeah. No, I think that's forever really, really cool, you know, like and you know, going back to what you were saying, just how bands like Knocked Loose, bands like Expire, as far as like putting their, I guess, regions out to people was the in their efforts of just a nonstop touring.
right,
Because I remember like watching as Knocked Loose, like, you know, put up pop culture and like started to like, you know, become this behemoth band that they are now. They're like playing again, like you were saying, 13 people in a community center, but like people like they're
Mhm.
playing sick. People who like them are going off, and you know, fast forward 5 or 7 years, and now like NHL is like posting like when Knocked Loose kicks in. You're like, what the fuck is
right. It's
going
fucking
on? You
crazy.
know?
And
Mhm.
touching on what you said, because I think it's like important to circle back to. At that time, uh, like Cross Me, Expire, I know Knock Loose, like bands like Bent Life and shit. Like the Midwest was like a very not forgotten about thing, but like any band that came from either coast was just like, fuck, we gotta play the Midwest, you know, because the drives are
Right.
shitty. It's fucking boring. You know, all there is to do is like, you know, depending on the city, just drink beer or just leave. So bands really had to fucking like Expire toured for 8 months a year for pretty much their entire existence, you know. And I
Mhm.
think that, and same with Knox, and I think that was like a huge edge up because they were truly out there grinding, getting the word out. And I think it just added validity when they were just like, we're fucking from the Midwest and we're fucking proud of it, kind of thing, you know?
Right. Yeah, no, I think that it's almost beyond necessary, if I can say that, for a smaller scene to, you know, make sure that you're doing things like you were saying, like I hope that you have people in your scene who are hungry, who want to film shows, put on a regional fest, like
Right.
being a band that will tour 8 months out of the year when we can get back to that. Because otherwise, like, you know, you're not putting yourself out in front of people.
Right.
You know, like scoped overall, like the whole goal since day one is like bring more eyes into Western Canada by any means necessary. And, you know, that could be, you know, and I think at first it was like, for me, I'm going to film shows, showcase, you know, hey, if we play here, you're going to have people moshing and buying shit. And, you know, like it's documentation of all that. And I've definitely seen the growth and the changes since filming shows, you know, up until the last
Right.
time I've done that. But even just this podcast and having an opportunity to talk about that, where it's like, what the fuck is Calgary, Alberta? And then,
Right.
you know, that's where those seeds get planted, where,
Right.
you know, things
And
down the road will happen.
just a little side piece. That's why I fucking love your fucking thing so much. That's why I fuck with Scopes Exposure so hard, because I like all people are so scared to just take that like first step forward in like anything in their life. They're like, well, yeah, but I'm just from like Calgary. It's like nobody's gonna give a
Right.
fuck. You know,
Right.
you're like, yeah, I'm just gonna like go to the high dive and take a full jump in. You know, like fuck it. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy if you just take that first step, how far you can go, and that snowball effect. You know, because you just get these little victories and it just keeps fucking rolling and rolling. And now you're just sitting here crushing it, interviewing like fucking everybody, and it's fucking amazing.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's you know, like we were saying before with Mitch's interview, like literally we're like outside of the venue in the back of his trailer and we're just gonna oh, I'm getting FaceTimed. Can I answer this FaceTime in the middle of the podcast?
Yes,
It's a friend of
I'm gonna
mine, so she'll
cool.
understand.
I'm gonna smoke a cigarette. So if you're a minor, don't do this.
I'm in the middle of a podcast. Do you want to say hi to Yeah, sure. It's with Jimmy. You want to say hi?
Hello.
Okay. No, you're fine. Now it's on the podcast forever. Okay, bye. Yeah, no,
She
that
seemed nice.
no, she's a real one. She's Jess actually helps me do the anniversary shows for Scoped.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, can't do that right now, but we got some things cooking for 2022 ish. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, so we were in the middle of just yeah. I think I think just when it comes to scope stuff, like a lot of it is not really like for me it was like I see a gap in this area, and especially when we first started it was like I see a gap when it comes to documentation. Like no one like a lot of there's a number of photographers here but no one filmed shows, and then that's how that
Right.
started. And then it was the same thing with this podcast. Like there was definitely a number of like certain like hardcore podcasts that I was listening to, but even before the pandemic, because that's kind of when we like dropped it. We were still working on things before then. I was like, I want a video podcast so people can see the individuals talking.
Engage, yeah.
Not a lot of people doing that. And B, I want to interview like certain individuals in hardcore, but also talk about the stuff that they're into as well. So all of that being said, is hardcore for me is like seeing something that you want, that you think is necessary, and obviously that has to be checked by friends, and just something you're like, am I off base to be like, should we have blah blah blah, but at the same time it's like fully accessible to like just start it, and like you said, like just take the plunge versus
Yeah,
like,
just fucking do it, man.
oh, like I'm nobody from Odessa, Texas, or whatever it is. Like you can
Yeah,
build something if you put in the work.
totally. I
And
mean, like
yeah.
when Cross Me started, granted, like at the time, uh, I was hanging around with Expire a lot and like all those dudes, so it was like kind of a inspiration to me to be like, yeah, like I want to do that thing. But like me and this dude Jake who started Cross Me, we were in this town. We lived in this town called Delafield, which is like 40 miles west of Milwaukee. So it's like fucking middle
Oh,
of
okay.
nowhere. And
Delafield. That's interesting.
yeah, yeah. Everywhere in Wisconsin has like these really long, obscure names. There's a bunch of memes like try to pronounce this town in Wisconsin, like Oconomowoc. You're like, oh, but
Oconomowoc.
yeah,
Crazy.
it's fucking weird. But yeah, so like I was 17, 18, and because of being in a place like that, just like every other band, it's just like I just want to get the fuck out of here. And like almost like watching like YouTube videos of like my favorite bands at the time and seeing them and like just fucking crush it was just more of me living that story, and just being like, man, I can't fucking be here anymore. Like I just want to get out and do that thing. And so when Cross Me started, we wrote 5 songs. This is excluding like how the band actually like came together with members and shit. Wrote 5 songs, and me and Jake broke 3 different computers, 2 family computers, and then my laptop, burning CDs. I think we collectively burnt 7,000 CDs.
What? Like
Yeah.
just to hand it out to people? Was that
So
the
what
goal?
so what I did is like obviously we had like a stack of fucking demos everywhere we went. We would go to like metalcore shows, we'd go to hardcore shows, we'd go to fucking EDM shows, rap shows, like whatever, and we just be like, check this out. Like everywhere in the city we were doing that. But I was like, I'm gonna hit up like, and it's crazy now because like a lot of the people who I would just hit up cold call essentially, I'm friends with now. But I'd be like, hey, like Justin from Closed Caskets, or he worked at All In at the time. I was like, can I send you 500 CDs to drop in the mail order? And he was just like, yeah. So like we would literally do that. Like we would just be like, all right, dude, we got to fucking burn
That's crazy.
400. And we would go to Kinko's and cut the sleeves and just literally fucking handwrite and just mail them off. So that's
Wow.
how hungry we were to get the fuck out of there. And obviously right now it's a little bit more achievable with like social media and everything else. Like I think this was like fucking 2012, something like that.
Right.
So like
yeah,
the social media was there, but like bands were still like really heavily touring. And
Well,
that
even at
DI.
that time, like bands were like even just hesitant to like make an Instagram. Well,
Yeah,
I don't think even that was a thing. Like
no, it wasn't.
most hardcore bands are like an Instagram only, but like even at the time where like MySpace and like bands were like it's weird to make a Facebook account. But like
Yeah,
now it's like such a normal thing to be like, all right, we have one social media and you can check shit out
right.
there.
Sometimes you
But
just
yeah,
fucking
it's
make the
crazy.
social media just to have the domain before you fucking even
Yes,
put the record out.
100%.
You know, it was just a different world back then, and it was like we were trying to be as like DIY and as fucking like punk and get after it as possible, and so
Right.
we just ruined the fucking shit out of our mom's computers. And yeah, it was interesting, but it really helped. Like, I mean, our
So were you there like loading each CD or was like how
yeah,
was that?
literally.
I need to know more about that.
So Jake would bring his computer over.
Mhm.
Whether so he had a laptop, I had a laptop, and then we had our family computers. So we would go to either house and we'd bring the laptops and we would have all three burning at one time. And we'd
Okay.
sit there until fucking in 200 were done. And or I'd be like, all right, dude, you finish burning these 200. I'm gonna go to Kinko's and cut the sleeves, and then we'll mail these out tomorrow morning. And we just
That's
for
crazy.
and so
Oh
we
my
started.
gosh.
There was like a little bit of social media presence. Like we had like a Facebook at the time, so we were
Mhm.
trying to book our first tours, and I would hit up all the promoters and just be like, "Yo, like, uh, can I send you like 100 demos and just leave them at your venue?" And it worked so well because for like our first couple tours, everybody that was there had already heard our shit because it just been sitting there. And like at
Interesting.
I
Okay.
think at that time it like still like Mediafire and shit like that was going around, so it was like kind of harder
Yeah.
to get your hands on music. And
Mhm.
yeah, like I remember our first out of state show was actually in Fargo, and still one of my favorite places to play ever.
Mhm.
People look at me like I'm a fucking psychopath when I say that, but Fargo is fucking
No,
cool.
we got lots of homies all in Fargo, so gotta shout
Uh,
that scene
have you ever
out for
been to
sure.
the New Direction when that was a thing?
I haven't, but I know of that venue for sure.
So that was our first the first place we played out of state, and we rolled up. I sent some demos there beforehand, and it was the craziest shit ever. That place just went to shit, and I
Right.
was like, oh my god, Fargo knows what's up. One, but also like everybody knew all the lyrics, and it was like uh, such a gratifying feeling. I'm being like, oh, that shit, like all those computers that we destroyed, actually like meant something. Uh,
Right. Wasn't just
yeah,
upset moms being like, "You destroyed our email machine." And you're like, "No, we got
yeah.
to make the demos."
It was a humbling experience overall because that was like the craziest first out of state show thing. And then the next
Yeah.
day was like two people and nobody gave a fuck. So I was like, okay, so that's just not how it's going to be all the time. So
Right. Yeah. No, that is super cool and super cool to hear the work that's needed. Because nowadays it's like a band can drop a new song on their way to like a festival, and 2 days later,
yeah,
like everyone knows the words and like the breakdowns to Mosh Hard to. So
yeah,
it's crazy how much the world has changed on that level.
yeah. I mean, even still now, like to anybody who's thinking about starting a band who's listening to this, like uh, you got to think about how you can separate yourself and like because you can just toss a song right out there, but just everybody else does that. So how do you
Right.
how do you work harder? How do you take that extra step? How do you like get to that point where you're separating yourself from the room? And I think that
Yeah. I
it's
think
it's a it's a huge shift for what you have to do now to back then. Don't
right.
don't burn 8,000 CDs. Just don't do that right now.
Yeah.
That's a bad idea. It's gonna be a lot of money and a lot of time. But
Yeah,
yeah,
no computers nowadays even have CD trays to like throw the
yeah.
demos in anyways. Yeah.
Like my laptop I'm on right now has like I think two inputs, one for the headphone and one for the fucking charger thing. I got it and I was
Yeah,
like, how do I even do this?
yeah. Yeah, no, it is I think that is a big piece. Like a lot of new bands, especially right now with like different little side projects and things like that to like kind of bring us all like kind of through this nightmare that we're all experiencing right now, with the fact of not being able to go to shows. But I'm honestly really curious on the people that put out really sick demos, EPs, or LPs that are kind of like a debut for them. Like, how are they gonna? And a large percentage of them haven't played a show. So I'm kind of curious on like what that first show is going to be. Are they going to be able to deliver what they've put down onto a record and those things? Yeah.
It's a tricky conversation if you throw a global pandemic in the mix. Like, so I just, me and some friends in Milwaukee, we wanted to start a band that just sounds like Think I Care and Mind Eraser for like forever.
Mm-hmm.
So we pre-pandemic wrote all the songs. The band's called World I Hate, and
Yes.
so yeah, we wrote
Love that
all
EP.
these songs. Oh fuck yeah, thanks man.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, and we recorded it in May with our buddy Andy and at Bricktop, and then we just sat on it because we were like, well, do we? Because usually we would just release it and then play fucking badass shows with our friends, but we can't do any of those things. So like, I think we paused for like 5 months, and then we were just like, fuck it, man. Like, just throw it out there and then revisit it when the world isn't on fire, and just get after it. But yeah, I mean, it's such a tricky conversation with the fucking pandemic and mix, because like, what do you do? Because usually the way you bump your music is to play shows. You know, you can only elevate so much on social media. So I think I'm worried that a lot of the really cool records that have come out this year are gonna like kind of go underneath the rug because they haven't had nobody's had the tools to be able to properly like promote themselves. You know?
Yeah. I think I just, the podcast I posted today was with Tyler from Wrist and Foreign Hands and
I
Vicious
love
Embrace.
Tyler Morris so much.
Yeah, the episode was really, really awesome. So hopefully you check that out after this. But like we're talking about how like even I know that there are bands that have been really sitting on that golden egg as far as an LP or like a new band or whatever it is, and they're just waiting to like perfectly line it up so like it's right around the time that shows like worldwide, if you want to call it that, are back. But he brought up a good point that like like everyone from like a small band in a small part of the world is probably doing that compared to a huge hardcore band that like maybe hasn't put a record in 4 to 5 years. So there might be like a really like like it will, like as a consumer it will be crazy to be like, this band put out a record, this went, but like naturally if you look back even in 2020, like bands that, like I used the example of like Drain's California Cursed far shadowed like Rotting Out's Ronin. Like they dropped literally the same day, and when I was seeing everyone's 2020 recaps, lots of Drain, little to no Rotting Out. Like very sick bands in both regards, but
for sure,
again, like shout out to any band that put out a record roughly around the same time that Gulch dropped their LP, because that just like took the cake for a lot of people.
That I remember that day. I don't know about you, but like we just dove way heavy into Warzone like everybody else during quarantine. So I was playing Warzone with some friends, and both those records came out like relatively around the same fucking 2-hour time span. And I remember thinking to myself, because before the pandemic, Lowen played a handful of shows of Drain. So it was like all the homies. I was like, oh no, like they put out a record the same day as Rotting Out. Like that's fuck. And then Drain's record just, I was like, okay, well,
100%. I thought the exact same. I thought it was going to be the other way around, but
yeah, respectfully, I mean, I fucking really love Rotting Out. That band's so cool. But like, seeing Drain like get to that fucking point without playing a goddamn show and just legitimately just being that good of a record, I was like, sick.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it should be interesting to see like, like a record that I'm eagerly anticipating is Ingrown's LP. And I think that is going to come out this year, just as far as some of the teases that I've been seeing. But that's been in a Dropbox just sitting there waiting for like almost 2 years, if I'm remembering some of the conversations I've had with some of those individuals. So
It's
we'll have
fucking
to just
crazy.
wait and see. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm excited. I think so. To preface all this, I think I put out a tweet like right when quarantine started. I was just like, by the tail end of this shit, everybody's gonna have such cool records they're sitting under. It's gonna be insane. Or some of the effect of just like everybody's gonna be so fucking good at guitar by this shit.
It's true, man. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's gonna be fucking insane. Like when
Yeah.
there's more of a sense of normalcy, and these bands start to play shows again, and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, I've been sitting on the most revolutionary thing for the last year and a half. Just drop that right in the
Sprinkle
hat.
it on. Yeah.
I'm gonna be
Sprinkle
like,
it like it's some salt on a
yeah.
steak or something.
I'm gonna be like, fuck, I tried. I didn't do as good as that at all. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Jimmy, like we've been going strong here for almost an hour, which is crazy. But yeah, definitely want to talk
Shit.
about some of the bands that you're a part of before we start to run out of time.
Yeah, sorry, man. I just like the conversation.
No, I'm thoroughly enjoying it myself. So you mentioned Cross Me as kind of like that was kind of like the first real kind of like big project that you were a part of, playing guitar for that. The band that a lot of people would know you for is Low End. And as far as like the origin of that band, anyone that knows you kind of knows some of the details around that. And maybe that's not some of the most important things that we can hit on, but maybe you can talk about how that shift from guitar into vocals kind of went for you. Did you want to always do vocals in a band, or were you just like, was it almost out of necessity in some cases? Talk to me about some of those things.
I would say a combination of both. Like I've always had like I never anticipated being a front man as like, oh yeah, that's like my main baby, right? Like that's the band I'm doing.
Right.
Yeah, because I just spent so much time like playing guitar, trying to get better at that thing. So yeah, we everybody that's in Low End, minus two people, we all played in. They played in Cross Me as well, but we played in a band called Stone. And then just Google it; you can find out everything you'd like to know.
Right.
But yeah, so the band dissipated for X, Y, and Z reason, and it was the most like, for an abundance of reasons, it was like the most soul crushing thing, because this was like we had sweated writing this LP for probably like a year and a half, and it was like still in my house right now. I have probably 500 Stone LPs. It was like when all that shit happened, I think it was 2 weeks to the day before it was going to be like out.
Yeah.
So it was like locked and loaded, right? And yeah, all that shit went down, and it was just like the most defeating. Like if we're talking like in a selfish manner, like if I'm thinking about the work that had been put in, I was like, this is the most defeating fucking thing. Like the amount that we sweated into that fucking thing. And yeah, so that paired with the whole situation itself and why it came about, we all kind of got together, and I was just like, do you want to fucking do this anymore? Like, do we just say, and I've had enough. Like, let's just do bands like in our free time and just go get a fucking job doing something.
Sure.
Yeah, we chewed on it for a little while, and then I think it was my sister. I was talking to her about it. I was like, yeah, I'm thinking about like maybe fucking doing this or starting to go to school for that or whatever. She was just like, you sound so fucking stupid right now. I was like, what are you talking about? She's just like, in all kindness, you're only good at this one thing. Everything else you're bad at. And I was like, wow, okay, fair.
Sister laying on some truth.
She's one of my favorite people ever. She's like a fucking brute of a being. She'll just tell you like it is. But yeah, so that like kind of made me sit and chew on it for a minute. And yeah, I went up to the boys and I was just like, how about we just take these songs, get a new fucking singer, and just do it again. And I mean, the hard work is done. We already have we have 15 songs. So let's just do it. And so we tried out a couple people for like the dude Zach that sang in Stone. He was such the reason that band worked so well was because his presence on stage was so like demanding. It was so like in your face, like energy the whole time. Like the vibe was like here the whole time. And there were people that like sonically sounded good that we tried out, but like their personalities weren't able to do that thing. And then we were just frustrated. I remember being at Mitch's. We were practicing at Mitch's dad's house at the time, so we were in his basement. And I was like, "All right, tell me to shut the fuck up, but I'm gonna try this thing. If it sounds like shit, tell me to sit down and shut up." And they're like, "Okay." So we played the song recorded now. It's called "Empty Vessel." But we just ran through that, and I just started like, I'd done like some vocals with like Cross Me and stuff like that, but I've never like gotten after it like that. And I blew the Christ out of my voice trying it
for sure.
But I was like, all right, what do you guys think? And they're like kind of like hesitant about it. They were just like pissed because I was playing guitar. And there was like, if you were a guy just trying out, you'd be in. But now what do we do about a guitar player? So it was like, yeah. So from then on, it was like, all right, well, I guess I'm gonna do this thing. And it made me get a whole different level of respect for vocalists and bands and being the singer. Like I really did fall in love with that, because I think there's like it's going back to what we were talking about earlier, that the intensity in the room and that like visceral feeling. I realized that like I'm the guy in charge of that thing.
Yes.
So like everything that's happening, and everything from like the music that is happening while we're setting up to it's all like we're in control of this. And I honed in on that, and it really gave me a level of respect to like vocalists who just have that without even thinking about it. They're like, I can command a room of 1,000 people and be the fucking ruler of the world. And so it was a whole different thing playing shows for me, which I really enjoyed it. I really liked being that guy that like was in charge of that. So yeah, and I mean I still play guitar, obviously, with I joined Judiciary pre-pandemic, so I've been doing shit with them, and that's kind of how Low End and me singing happened. Not how I planned.
Yeah,
here we are.
No, that is interesting to hear some of the context, and like obviously, like it's even interesting to hear just like because I think a lot of people, when all that stuff was going down with Stone, like was trying to, like not insert themselves into that situation, but like, oh, like this upsets me. But like my mind immediately, and I remember this super vividly, was like, there are some badass musicians in that band that largely came over from Cross Me, like you, Mitch, and some of the other guys. And it was so disappointing for me to see that implode off of all the stuff that was coming down the pipe. I'm glad that those things came to light, but it was just still like, man, like I don't want to see these musicians just wither away just off of this super shitty situation that that you guys didn't ask for. It just literally like you were just made aware of it, and you're like, okay, well, and to hear it straight from the horse's mouth, it was like, it was so bad that it was like, do I even want to do this anymore? But it even just prepping for this podcast, looking on your Instagram, I'm like Jimmy is like a band guy, like played in a lot of bands,
fucking
touring all the time. Yeah. So, it would have been just super strange to, like, I'm sure there's an alternate timeline ultimately where maybe you do go the route of like doing school and some of those things, and you know, a lot of the cool bands that you're a part of now would just look differently or either not exist at all.
Right.
Do
I
you
mean,
feel
like,
like, sorry, you
sorry,
go.
I was just touching on what you're about to say. Like, just uh, yeah. I mean, the phrase like "things happen for you, not to you" is kind of what
Mm,
I latched onto, and it kind of like punched me in the face. I think I read that somewhere, and it was like Lowen had already been a band, and I was just reflecting on that whole situation, and I was like, yeah, like if Stone were to have continued, uh, that would have been like my job. Um, but like there was, without diving into detail, there were so many components of that thing that would have been just like destructive internally, like just
mm-hmm.
relationships that I had with people. Uh, it was not healthy. So it's like in the time you're thinking this is the worst thing that ever fucking could happen ever. Uh, Years down the road, you're like, I'm super glad it happened. Obviously, the reasons it happened are fucking gross, but
Mm-hmm.
like personally, just to trim the fat of the people around you in your life and just kind of like hone in on, what do I actually benefit from this thing, and like where can I take it? It brought a lot of clarity. So like people are like, oh, it's like it's such an awful situation. I'm like, it was, but I'm very glad that it happened because now
Sure.
my life is
Yeah.
in this position, and I'm fucking doing all these cool things, and it's still got fucking air in my lungs, and we're just cranking away.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like sometimes when you're in the midst of like a shift like that, whether it's, something that's super shitty that's happening with your job or whatever, like it feels detrimental when you're in it. But when you can come through the other side, you're like, oh, I understand why these things happen because this happened and this triggered this event and all those things.
and there's
Yeah.
like destructive components that everybody has in their life that until it's like uncomfortably removed, you never even know is there.
Hmm.
And that's like the real thing that I kind of realized with that whole situation.
Yeah. And I think it was interesting because, we've talked about Mitch's podcast and that was like I think episode 4, so it was like very early on. And I remember when I was prepping for that, even way, way, way back, the thought process of like asking him about some of those things was definitely like, well, like should I? I don't know. But then I kind of went the route of like I'm just gonna let him bring it up if he wants to. And it was only towards the end of the episode where he was like kind of nodded to it, like he's aware, but he was like, "That's all I'm gonna kind of say." And I think at that point it was still like it was all like Low End had just started as a band. You guys were still very, very new.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, do you feel like it's this thing where like you've like made peace with it in your own life and you've clearly moved on to so many other things, but do you feel like it's this looming thing as soon as you like go to a fest where you see a ton of your friends who know about that, who like are you like do you have this
Uh,
weird like thought of like are people going to bring it up when I'm in the room,
it
because I'm just trying to
I
like move on from that.
I would say definitely in the conception of Low End and our first couple things, uh, there was that elephant in the room.
Mm-hmm.
I would walk in and people would be like, "Oh, that's the band," and I would just get this feeling of like, I don't know if people are like uh, pissed and tie me into the whole situation, or if they feel bad for us, or like whatever. And like we were all just like, I'm just we're just trying to play a badass fucking gig with our friends, like
Yeah, right.
we are moving on from that thing, and this is the new thing, and if you don't like it, fuck you. That was the
Mm-hmm.
mentality we went about with it. We were just like, let's just fucking do it with no apologies towards anybody or anything, and just like let it
Mm-hmm.
rip. And the second that we really started kind of like playing shows and coming into our own, all of that shit just completely went away. Because
Mm-hmm.
touching on what I was saying before, like being in control of that vibe was like was all of it. So I was like, all of us collectively were just like, let's just go crush it and not be concerned about if there's 25 people or 300 people. Let's just go
Mm-hmm.
fucking do the thing and do what we're good at. And yeah, so it quickly faded away, that feeling. Yeah, people know about it. People who know me are just like, oh yeah, that's just like a crazy fucking thing that happened to you. I'm like, yeah, that's fucking nuts, man. But
Right.
at this point, that's about the extent of where it goes, which I'm
Yeah.
fine with.
Yeah, I think with most things in hardcore, like if something on the outside like feels gimmicky, like I'm sure a lot of people got put onto Gulch because of like the whole San Fernando like Gulch hoodie fiasco where people were reselling it. But like Gulch wouldn't be as big as a band if they've had all these like meme-esque moments in their career if their product wasn't as sick as it is. Same thing
Right.
with Low End, I think. Like, if the music wasn't sick, there might be like a little bit of like this weird like, not like people are coming just off of like, well, like I still want to support these people, but like I'm not super into the music. Like, and it's clearly shown that people like across like the Midwest and largely the even just North America and the world in general are just like into the music. And when I see something that you guys are doing now, my mind doesn't go back to like maybe some of the birthplace aspects because you guys are just clearly focused on the future versus the past.
Cool. Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, man. That's fucking awesome. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like that's touching on what you just said. I think that's the real thing to drive home is just keep it fucking moving, man. Like
Of course.
you can't hang up on the things you can't change. Just fucking let it roll.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I definitely wanted to bring up, you playing in, Low End. I've gotten to see you guys a couple of times. Like you guys came up for Wild Rose 2019, which was really, really sick. It was funny because I think I wanted to almost make a ticker in the bottom of the set video, just like how many times you said you loved Canada, because I just loved you just like shouting us out so much.
I
But
do love Canada.
yeah. Well, what is one of your favorite aspects when you're, because outside of Low End, you've come up here for other times as well.
Yeah.
So like, what's the thing that you miss about most about our country that you haven't gotten the chance to in the last couple of years because of the pandemic?
Well, for starters, everybody in Canada, especially in the hardcore scene, is so fucking nice and cool and accommodating. You're just like, I just want to like be here all the time. This is amazing. And I think it's
Right.
I think the country as a whole, and you can even lump Vancouver into this. It feels like how the Midwest feels a little bit to me, especially years ago, where it was just like, I feel so stoked and fortunate to have a fest or tour of any kind come through my fucking town.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
I'm just going to make it as cool of an experience for me as possible. And like everybody that's at a Canadian show is like genuinely stoked and would rather be nowhere else. And there's no, it doesn't feel like there's an ego in the room. It just feels like, yeah, we're just like a whole bunch of homies, just really excited that you finally fucking got here,
Right.
And yeah, that's why I like it so much. I think I've played shows that are smaller in Canada. I've played like bigger shows in Canada, but like there's never been a show where I'm just like, fuck, I wish I was somewhere else.
Right. Yeah. And I think, even going back very, very early in the conversation, just talking about how maybe certain A market tours wouldn't come to Milwaukee, but would go to Chicago. So you guys would drive down and,
Yep.
make connections there. That's very, very apparent in Western Canada. Like, especially with Wild Rose and some regional fests that happen here, like people from Winnipeg all the way to Vancouver will drive 12 plus hours just to be like with all their friends for a weekend, despite the lineup of the show or festival.
Yeah,
So
you guys are fucking psychos when it comes to that shit.
we really are. Yeah.
Dude,
we're
I've
bred
seen
differently.
fucking friends from Calgary or Vancouver, and I'm in Saskatoon, and they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
what's up, dude?" I'm like, "Hey," and then it clicks in my head. I'm like, "You live on the other end of the country. What are you doing here?" They're like, "Oh, dude, I just was bored." I'm like,
I was
"That's
bored. Yeah.
crazy."
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys are fucking psychos, but I love it. It's amazing.
I think that's one of my favorite things about like filming shows is like having this document, like when I'm able, even if I don't see the person prior to the band playing, when I'm filming a show and I'm like, here's this Looney Tune from a random little town in Manitoba all the way in Calgary to see Terror or like whatever
Yeah.
it is, like, you know, I even think about you know, when DPK had their 5-year anniversary, and just like so many friends from all over the western half of our country, and just like, this is so fucking rad. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think it is one of those things where we are crazy in that regard, and we'll just like go because I think it is ultimately a supply and demand thing. Like, we don't have a ton of tours always coming to our town, so it's like, well, this locals only thing in Regina is only 8 hours away. Can I fill up the car with a bunch of homies? All right, let's go.
Yeah, dude, I fucking love it. And also
Yeah.
like the bands that start up there, like take like Mortality Rate for example, like they're doing like those fucking crazy. I think I was listening to the podcast you did with Jake, and he touched on it a little bit, saying like, yeah, they have to fucking drive however long to meet up with us, and they roll out of the van like, what's up? You know, like,
Yeah,
so
right.
super stoked about it. But like, since you guys don't get those packages as frequently, like I feel like Canada fucks with their bands as a whole. You know, it's not like oh yeah, I fuck with the Midwest bands or I fuck with the East Coast bands. Just like, oh, you're a Canadian band, we fuck with you. You know,
Right.
and
Yeah.
Mortality Rate's a great example. I think that they just fucking anywhere they're playing in Canada, they just fucking crush. I mean, they're an amazing band. But yeah, I think just every scene up there just fucks with their bands because they have to fucking get some shows, you know. So it's the locals that build themselves up, and people just attach themselves to it, and it's it's fucking dope.
I think any Canadian band who's played any festival and, you know, drapes the Canadian flag over the 810 bass cab is like, I think that's the move that should be going forward for any band. You know, I think about, you know, I think Prowl and Stepping Stone, when they both played 2019 LDB, both did that. I think someone was moshing with the Canadian flag, and I was like, this is perfect. This,
yeah, it's amazing.
if this doesn't put eyes on our country, I don't know what will.
And now everybody in the States is just like, I think we should move to Canada. This is fucking bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely I forgot and just remembered now that right when was all that shit happening? Like, I think it was right around the pandemic beginning. It was like people were Googling how to move to Canada, or I think that was when Trump like came into office. It was like, how do I move to Canada?
Nobody's gonna move to Canada. Okay, you're all trapped. Okay.
Nobody. You're very special.
You're all mine.
Yeah.
God.
Oh man, that's a pretty good Donald impression.
Oh yeah.
I'm
kind of impressed. We spent a lot of time in quarantine talking about Donald Trump. Okay.
What was your favorite quote from the former president that you would always?
Oh my God!
It's always the hands. Listen.
It's always like here's the deal. Okay. I honestly can't say just one favorite because everything that left that dude's mouth, I was like, you're such a fucking idiot. I hate you so much. But it wouldn't be so like later on and be like, oh, he said those words? That's fucking insane.
Right.
It's just insane. But yeah, as I would watch him in like some sort of press interview, I would literally just be mouth agape like, you guys wanted him here? Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah. So
I only asked because I listened to a podcast where they have like they must have a soundboard with like 100 different like keys to have little sound bites just on demand all the time, but there's a number of different Donald quotes that they have just to like throw in just out of context. Like, so I think when he made that video when like all the Capitol Hill like marching was happening, he made like we love you, you're very special. So they just have that anytime just to like really just like goof on him as much as possible.
I liked when the pandemic first came about and he was like clearly riding the line of like, I want to live and be safe, but also I want to promote anti-masking. So just be like, I encourage all of you to just be safe and cautious. Don't do anything too outrageous. But also, if you want to wear a face covering, that is just your choice as an American. But also, it's liberal agenda. Okay, and it's like this constant this, and you're like, you're not saying any formative sentence.
Right.
You're just
Yeah.
saying
Pick a
stuff.
side of the fence and just stay there versus I would step on either side. My Donald is not as good as yours. It's
gonna
gonna
be
be
amazing.
amazing.
You're just gonna have to practice. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be wonderful. Okay.
I love it. I definitely did want to, chatting about different festivals that I've seen you guys at. The last time I got to see you guys was at Snow and Flurry 2019. A manic of a set. Just I think that set out of the whole weekend had the most amount of stage dives, which was just
that shit.
it was
That shit
a
was
madhouse.
bananas, man. That was cool.
Yeah, it was definitely really fun. Just a quote from that, and like this is something that there's sometimes where I hear things either on hardcore podcasts or in a live setting that I'm just like, it just still I think about it on a constant basis. But you were just talking about how, and I aside from just sharing it on like scope stuff, I also like wanted to just post it on my own social media, and you were just talking about how hardcore at times gets lost, and this is a loose quote, but like gets lost in the sauce of being a dick measuring contest for whoever walks in the room, and just talking about how we're all losers and geeks and idiots and equals ultimately at the end of the day. So I wanted to just like break that down a little bit more because I still think that is something that people that do get a little bit too tied to like ego and just like fronting when it comes to like especially when shows do come back, like it's going to be like, unfortunately I anticipate seeing people that maybe didn't do any reflection when the 2 years of no shows. So talk to me about like where your stance is on that, and ultimately why you wanted to what inspired you to share those words during that set.
Well, I think just like to preface all of it, I think something that I kind of reflected on in being a singer was capitalizing on I have a platform, which means I have responsibility. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like what I say could resonate with people, and I need to be held accountable for those things. So it's a platform that I don't want to take for granted, and I want to utilize. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sitting here being like, drink a lot of water, do all those things. I went back to the Donald Trump voice because once I get rolling on it, I can't get out of it. But
yeah, sorry, naturally switches in.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think that's
all Americans
that's true.
Drink a lot of water. Sorry, we're like trying to talk about something serious, and we're just coming back to Donald.
Yeah, it's a fucking easy voice to slip into, man. Once you get on the boat. But yeah, I feel like it's at least in the Midwest. I feel like it's just because that's what I'm around. It's calmed down quite a bit, but there was a period of time where it felt like every room you walked into, there was like a level of judgment, or it wasn't like what you were talking about before, where there's like the dude that you don't know or the kid in the corner of the room, and it was that like, who the fuck is this? Who is this kid? It wasn't like a warm embrace. It wasn't like a, yo, you're a loser, you're an idiot too, like fucking come hang out,
right.
And like dialing it back to when I first started going to shows, that's like the real thing that made me fall in love with it, was like, the sense of camaraderie amongst the black sheep and the nerds and the dudes who just want to play D&D, and all those people. And it was like right. It doesn't matter who you are, what color you are, what gender you are, any of those things. Like, we're all together doing this one thing, and it's fucking beautiful. And we're gonna get a little sentimental here.
Of course, please.
But yeah, with that being said, there's always like some people call it like the jock mentality. I just think of it all as like an ego thing. Like, the people that don't know themselves well enough to have the confidence in themselves to be able to like formulate their own opinion or start their own trends or do that thing. They feel like they just need to constantly be pushing other people down to give them that just like little dopamine hit of like, oh yeah, I'm superior. And I think that shit is so fucking whack. Because like, yeah, and you see it all over the place. People walk into the room and just like, shut up. I'm just like, fuck you, dude. You work at goddamn Target.
Of course, yeah. It's
yeah.
Like, so what's your 9 to 5? Like,
yeah.
Like, and not like that really matters at the end of the day. Like, some people do take jobs that are maybe not as like right for their age as far as like, oh, you're 30 and you're working entry level job. But some people have chosen that route so they can still do music full time and tour as much as possible. So I'm not trying to bash those people as much.
Definitely. I'm still a bartender. You know, I'm just like a service industry, working shitty jobs, doing that thing. But don't get the idea that just because you're in this certain space and you're friends with certain people or your band has done certain things or insert reason, don't think that elevates you to be above anybody else. I think the real thing I was trying to drive home. Because I mean, fuck yeah, go work at Target if that's what makes your fucking heart of hearts full. You know, do that thing. But don't give me an attitude, or don't give the fucking new kid an attitude, or whatever, because you've accomplished X, Y, and Z. And I think you can apply that same thing to every situation in every room you walk into in a show or not. You know, just like be a genuine fucking person and don't think for a second that your position or what you've done is better or more so than anybody else.
Yeah. I think, I think it is one of those, I think that it's not like there's gray area, but like I was saying before, just like the accessibility of like, like going to a hardcore show and being like, oh my gosh, like this crazy vocalist that I look up to is like literally on the other side of the table and I'm trying to nervously buy like a $20 shirt or whatever. Like there was definitely moments like that. But like for me, I would always think about people who would like post memes about like people like who would just be over talking to them at a hardcore show and just saying like, and almost having a point, a counter for like just being like, wow, that's crazy, and almost like making fun of someone just trying to like socialize with you at a engage, ultimately. And just making that about like, oh, I am this superior like hardcore person, and someone who is like a show goer or mosher is trying to come to me and take 5 minutes of my day. Like a huge thing that I try to do with this podcast, or even just like Scoped in general, is like, no matter how big it grows, I always want to be, someone that some kid or whoever at any place in their hardcore journey, as cheesy as that sounds, can still come up and be like, yo, like, how's it going? And I will give you the time of day. Like, for sure. It's on the podcast. You can fucking like screen record it and send it to me if like, whatever. So there's like a fine line of like, I have people reaching out to me like on like a connection basis. So they're like, hey, we just put out new music. And I try my best to do as much as I can. But sometimes you're like, I am just one guy. Like I would say over 90% of people in hardcore are doing this as like a side thing, not like their full-time job. So I got like my friend Jamie, who has another hardcore podcast. We did one recently, and he was like, I don't have enough time in my day to do shit that I want to do. So sometimes like there's times where it's like, oh, like you want me to listen to your demo, but like I literally have no time for the next week to do that. So don't get your hopes up that I'll like maybe listen to it on the first go.
Yeah. It's the equivalent of like, yeah, man, I would love to have a conversation with you. Don't come up and talk to me while I'm lifting a fucking 8x10. Yeah.
Right.
Like, yeah, everybody's got their thing. And an interesting point. Have you ever met Gabe the Pigeon?
Of course.
G the P?
He was episode 8 or 9 of the podcast.
He is the fucking man. I love that fucking person so much. But me and him were having a conversation because he tours with Judiciary pretty frequently, and we were having a conversation in the van one time, and I realized for what he said that I do it often too, which could be misconstrued as like, oh, he's just like full of himself, or like he did this dickhead thing to me. But like just to humanize everybody, like everybody's a human, right? And he was like, yeah, man, like there's days people come up and talk to me, and maybe that day I'm just like full of anxiety, and or like for me personally, like sometimes people will try to come up and talk to me, and I'm like so stressed, or my anxiety's through the roof, or I'm like really like honing in and reflecting something that might be a negative in my life, and I'm not so like, what's up, dude? Like, so amazing to talk to you, stranger. It's just like, hey, how you doing? Oh, thank you, I appreciate that. That's really amazing that you watched the set, you know. But like, like I said, just to humanize everybody, no matter how big of an inspiration they are to you, or what band they're in, like everybody's going through their own fucking shit. Everybody's got that one thing that are just like, I wish that this was way different in my life. And it might, that situation, that second might be the time that they're just chewing on that thing. So if they don't seem like very bubbly, it's an interesting counter argument where you're just like, oh, that dude was like such a dick to me. Well, what the fuck is that dude going through? You know, like X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, no.
Dude, girl, anybody, you know, it's like everybody's got their own shit.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times like I almost hate when people come up to me and be like, oh man, that was so sick. Like immediately after I'm playing, I'm like, I'm just trying to get my shit off stage so the next band can get on. Like, talk to me in 5 minutes. So yeah, it's so there's but I also think, like a huge point is like, like people aren't coming to a hardcore show with like their social pants and everyone's like I'm sure there's people that try to do their best to like, maybe they are
sorry,
like,
pause that thought 1 second. I have to grab my laptop charger, which is right there. It's gonna die in 2 seconds.
Let's hope it does not die on the podcast.
That would be bad.
That would be bad.
But you were saying,
I was just saying like, like, you know, some, like I think about this all the time, like being married to someone who is introverted and being someone who's mainly extroverted. Like any social things outside of even hardcore like is an extroverted experience, right? So for people who are introverted, it like they might be able to like put on their social pants and be able to talk and, you know, think about some of those things, but it's that much more energy wise for them, and there's just a ton of things going on at a show, so there's that aspect as well to just humanize everyone. But I think another point is just like sometimes, you know, like sometimes all you should really say is be like, hey man, like I'm really glad you came to our town, and that's it. Like there's definitely been times where like I know like people have like either DM me or just talk to me at a show, and there's like that like not ulterior motive, so to speak, but there's always like, okay, how can I like have this conversation
sense of like
that turn
ladder climbing or like, you know, any of those things, just trying to like involve themselves.
Yeah. And you know, like I've talked about this on the podcast before, but like sometimes like I've accepted that like my relationships with a lot of people in hardcore like kind of almost start online in a sense. Like I'll film their band or, you know, have them on the podcast, and that kind of like and I'm okay for that to happen versus like we had this like super deep one-on-one conversation for like 2 hours at a show. Like that's a lot of time at a hardcore show. But like over time, like that just builds. So it's like the next time I see Low End, it's gonna be like, yo, how's it going? And it, like, you know, there's foundation there versus like you come like with no history and it's like, hey Jimmy, I really want you to, you know, send my demo off or whatever, and you're like, what the fuck? Like
next time we see each other in person, I'm gonna go up to you and be like, Spencer. Do you remember me, Spencer? It's been a while. Okay.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, but yeah, I think I think about Carlos from No Echo as someone, who's come on the podcast and talked about this, but just like he'll get this big long lengthy email about like, "Hey, I love what you're doing with No Echo and featuring new bands and blah 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 blah." And he's like, "Scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. Oh, by the way, here's my band's demo if you want to check it out, blah blah blah." So it's like I think that you should definitely I I definitely don't want to deter anyone from just like putting themselves out there and just making friends. But also at the same time, just like maybe being a little self-aware of like maybe I shouldn't ask Jimmy to have a quick convo about literally whatever when he's trying to set up to play or like things like
Right.
that.
Before I play, I make myself so emotionally unavailable. I like am like in a corner of the venue that's so dark, and I'm just like in this fucking headspace. And then after the set, even if somebody wanted to talk to me, I'm so fat and sweaty and out of shape that like I legit can't muster up the words and be like, "Thank you." I'm like, "Fucking get out of my way," and I have to go outside.
You were
just
about
like,
to do the Donald.
get out of the way. I must make
Please
my
get
exit.
out of the way. I'm a very
But
big deal.
dude, I feel bad because there's been times where I've had to like go back up to people who have come up to me after a set, and I've essentially just literally physically pushed them out of the way so I could get outside, so I could either just catch my breath or finish hyperventilating, and I'd just go back up to them and be like, "Hey, so didn't mean to push you. I was verging cardiac arrest. Thank you. I appreciate you coming up."
Right. Yeah. Give me a second and then do that. I think that there's a clip of Henry Rollins like literally walking off the stage playing, and someone's like, "That was amazing. How was that?" And he's like, "You're literally gonna interview me when I'm like dripping in sweat." And he's like, "I guess not." He's like, "Okay, thank you." And then he just like keeps on going on. I'll try to play that clip on the podcast for all the visual listeners.
How will your diary of today look like?
We came and played our guts out, and then I had to do this interview when I should have been able to be left alone so I could breathe hard.
I'm sorry for that.
That's okay.
Okay. We'll see you later on then.
Okay.
There's one final topic that I wanted to hit on, Jimmy. And you kind of hit on it a little bit as far as, bartending is your kind of 9 to 5 normal job type of thing. And, a huge goal of mine with this podcast is to talk about hardcore, but also the things that people are into outside of that. I think it's fair to say that there's a fair amount of people in our world that work at bars and those kind of spaces. So, was that kind of that path for you, just like, again, like we were talking about before, this is a way that I can easily book time off for when we're touring? Or is there like, I also like, making cocktails and some of those things as well?
Yeah. That's definitely how it started. It was just like a means for income so I could fucking tour, and the service industry is really easy to get shifts covered historically. But yeah, no, it's definitely developed into like a career path for me. I mean, I'm the kind of person that I can stand still under no circumstance ever. I just need to be going all the time. So like quarantine, I took on like during that interview I mentioned earlier when I was like typing all this stuff out. The question was like, what have you accomplished like during quarantine without shows? Like what have you really done with your time? And I just gave this like fucking list. Like, well, so what did I do? I mean, like I have a bunch of like hobbies outside of music that are more for enjoyment, but lately it's been like, how do I get better at the things I'm already doing, and how do I just take on new things? Like right now, I don't know if you noticed, but I built a tiki bar at my bar that I work at because the occupancy for the city wouldn't allow us to do things inside. So over quarantine, me and the owners like hand fucking built. I turned into a contractor essentially. So we hand built this whole fucking tiki bar.
Sure.
And then I took the garbage from that and I built my own tiki bar that I'm currently sitting at. It's fucking adorable.
It's full on tiki bar.
Oh, we're getting tropical as shit. But yeah, aside from that, getting my real estate license right now as a side hustle.
Oh, sick.
Built a recording studio. Um, like I said, I can't stop fucking moving. Can't stop doing things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just mostly that. I love traveling when that was a thing, and yeah, like I said, I spend most of my time thinking about how I can get better at the things I'm doing and how I can grow. So right now I'm trying to start like a couple side hustles, like one real estate thing. Hopefully my partner doesn't see this because we're not supposed to be talking about it because we haven't told we haven't told our bosses yet. But yeah, fucking we're starting this this side hustle where we do like wedding caterings. So we just roll up with
Oh,
like all of our fucking cocktails and just go crush it for a couple grand and just
yeah.
do that thing.
Yeah.
Also, I
That's
could
very
tour.
cool.
I love
Yes.
I love the jobs where I can just be like, all right, see you in 6 weeks.
Yes. Of course. Yeah. No, I think that's pretty cool. Like it's funny to hear like all the garbage from the tiki bar at your work has now just, made it to your way, and you found a way to make something your own. I think cocktails just, just in my life, like me and my wife have been doing that a little bit more, especially with lockdown and some of those things. It's like can't go out to eat or like do that. Like might as well just learn some of those things at home. So
Hell yeah.
what's your go-to, or like what's your kind of favorite thing that you're making on the regular right now?
um, it's funny because I used to despise this thing, but gin is my favorite thing in the spirit world. I love gin so fucking much.
Okay, cool.
Because it's just now we're diving into this nerdy shit, but it has a lot of versatility. There's a lot of components that depending on what you're applying it to can shine out, if that makes any sense, through the
Sure.
cocktail. And yeah, I mean it's just I think the bar world in that capacity and cooking are like pretty interchangeable. They're like one and the same. It's
Mhm.
and the form of bartending that I do is more like craft style. So it's like we're using this really obscure, crazy liqueur that you've never heard of, and just all these really weird, nerdy things that only I give a fuck about. But
Right.
if I were to narrow it down to like one drink that I've been sipping on mostly, classic aviation. If you never had one,
Okay.
I completely suggest you get one. It's
Okay.
fucking delicious.
So I have to ask for an aviation, or like how do I order something of that magnitude?
You go to a cocktail bar in your area that requires masks and is safe, and
Of course. Yeah.
usually it's a classic cocktail in that world. So usually if it's like a
Okay.
decent cocktail bar and you're like, my friend said I need to try an aviation, they'll be like, I got you.
Okay.
And
Yeah. It's not like I'm ordering some mystery drink
no,
that you can order at Starbucks at like another coffee place, and they're like, "What the
no,
fuck is that?"
it's I
Gotcha.
mean it might, I'm trying to think, it might be a little tricky to get one in Canada. I'm sure there's bars fucking that will
Mhm.
have an aviation, but it's cool. It's like this nice, beautiful, like light hazy blue color, and you
Hmm.
sip it and it tastes amazing. And then you stand up and you're like, oh my god, I'm, I'm feeling a little something.
Yeah.
Uh,
Just
but
off
yeah,
of one. I
it's
am
it's been cool,
curious.
man.
I am curious on some of the differences for cocktails from Canada to the States, because I remember, going back to Stone Flare Fest, there was like a coffee shop right by the venue there, and we were staying at an Airbnb kind of in between. So we are like, oh, we'll stop at there, get some coffee for day two. And I asked for a dirty chai, which is like the only way that I'll get my coffee if it's not just like straight black. And the girl just looked so perplexed, and I was like,
She's
like,
like,
what are you talking about?
dirty chai,
Dirty chai. What
the
is that?
dirty chai, so
It's
not
like
clean.
so
Okay,
not clean. But yeah. Yeah, and I was like, no, it's like a chai tea latte, but like you throw some espresso in there. And she's like she like went to her coworkers like, do you know what this is? Like, oh, okay, I've heard of this before. Um,
yeah,
So I'm sure like there's some of that elsewhere in the world, but I'm kind of curious on the cocktail side. Just off the aspect of ordering, I've seen a plethora of like funny videos just talking about like how inaccurate people can order drinks, or just like the unsaid code of some of those things in the bar world. So like, do you have any like horror stories, or just like different things that have like come through your door, or hit the table and you're like do you know nothing of this
Well,
space?
so like I take like the cocktail world and that whole thing, like the same way that people have egos in hardcore music or anything else. It's the same thing with the bar industry. Like there's people who are
Oh,
just
for
like,
sure.
oh, I know how to make you this very perplex cocktail. It's entirely balanced and we use fresh citrus and it's all pre-batched and made our own sacrams for it. Like all this dumb nerdy shit. And you're like, cool, man. Yeah, I'll just take like a Budweiser. Yeah. But yeah, I try to approach it and like the same way as if like you're cooking for somebody and you give them the meal and you're just like, do you like it? And if they genuinely like it, you feel fucking good about it. I get
Oh, for
enjoyment
sure. Yeah.
doing the same thing. So I get more excited when people are just trying out this bar or just trying out a cocktail for the first time and they're just transparent about it. And they're like, hey, I don't fucking do this. Like, I like sweet stuff or I like sour stuff. I'm like, I'm going to make you something that you're going to fucking love, hopefully. And if you hate it, we'll just keep trying until we're nailing it. And
Right.
yeah, that's the part that I really enjoy about it. So, I mean, as far as horror stories goes, I'm pretty able to navigate in per situation what they're really looking for. But I can tell you some fucking the most fucked up horror story that's happened to me in any sort of service industry setting at all. Because it's a fucked up story. So it was I was probably 18 years old. It was like right when I started crossing. This is when I started getting into the service industry. I was serving tables at this one place, and it was a brewery, and they had these huge the German Weiss glasses. They're like
yeah.
tall, skinny at the bottom, kind of open up to a wide mouth at the top. So they're really obnoxious to carry on a tray. They're like top heavy as hell. And I had just started, like I said, and the section that I was in, it was, I don't know if you can imagine this. It was like table here, and then a booth in the corner. So if the tables were occupied, it was hard to squeeze past to get to the booth in the corner because there was people sitting ass to ass. And it was like a busy fucking Friday. And my booth table just left, and I was like, all right, I need to go bust that, clear it out so I can get more money. And coincidentally, these two people that were sitting back to back to each other were very heavy. They were built Ford tough.
Yeah,
so these
stocky individuals.
Yeah, you get a bunch of them in Wisconsin. So these two large gentlemen were sitting ass to ass, and I was like, squeeze past them to get to the table, and I busted up, and I'm still getting used to carrying trays at this point. And I turn around with my tray and I look, and they somehow their asses got closer. And I was like, I feel like I can do it. I'm gonna suck it in. I'm gonna like, so I did that, like kind of like snuck past them like this, and I was wearing this apron that had like all my server books in it. And so I turned
the uncalculated distance from your body. Oh, okay, I see.
So I made it through, and I was about to go. I was like, I fucking got this shit. And my apron caught on the edge of their chair, and I saw one of those Weiss glasses start to tip, and it was a tray this big, full of shit. And it was a busy ass Friday night. I saw one start to go, and I was like, oh, I'm fucked. And the whole fucking thing dumped over, which isn't the most fucked up part of the story. Most fucked up part of the story is that, so this shit crashes all in the middle of my section, and I'm like freaking out, embarrassed. But a piece of glass had jumped up and cut this woman's baby on the arm. And yeah,
oh my gosh.
I can't believe I'm still in the fucking industry. Yeah, so it cut this woman's baby, and I'm sitting there surrounded by glass, and she just goes, sir, you just cut my baby. And I was like, what do you say that? Like, what do you say?
Yeah, you can't just say sorry. Like you're like trying
Yeah.
to figure out like,
So,
wow, okay.
so I
So
was like,
like
I think
on
the
you
words
said
that
on
left
the
my mouth
arm,
were,
right?
yeah. And
Yeah.
I think the words that left my mouth were, uh, I'll get a Band-Aid. Everything's free. And then I just ran away. And
Everything's free.
yeah, and everything was free. We comped their whole fucking bill. But to this day, if I'm ever training somebody in a bar setting or like in a restaurant setting, and they're like worried about trays, I always tell them that story. I'm like, just know that no matter how bad it gets, you're never gonna do that. And they're like, that makes me
Yeah.
feel a lot better.
Yeah, like oh man, that is too funny. Just yeah, that's all like arguably it's almost like a rite of passage to like drop a tray of drinks and
Oh, for
like
sure.
you get the people being like yeah, and you're like fuck you and just
Yeah,
move
like,
on with your day.
yeah.
But yeah, to know that is that is the lowest ultimately that people I'm honestly curious if people listening or watching are like, oh, I have worse stories. So you'll have
I
to
would
put
be
those in the
curious as well.
comments.
Hit my DMs with some fucked up shit. I'm all about it.
Yeah, no, I hope the scar for that baby is just very minimal, if anything.
Oh yeah, I don't suggest cutting babies at your job. It's not ideal.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's not the worst part. I'm like trying to think about like, okay, like glass, someone steps on it, but just the
Hmm.
forces of gravity forced it. But that is a good story. That
When
if
I
everyone's okay, no one really got
yeah,
really hurt.
everybody's fine. I went up to my boss like right after because he was
Right.
the manager on duty, and I was like, I just cut a baby. He's like, what? I broke it's all broken. It's fucking broken, and I cut a baby. He's just like, oh, this sounds fucking terrible. I'm like, it's bad. It's the whole situation's fucked up.
Oh man, that's a gem of a story. That is too funny. I don't know if we have enough time. When's your heart out for when you gotta go?
I probably gotta get going actually within like 2 minutes or so. I gotta fucking
Okay,
go to work.
so we'll start to wrap it up here. Yeah, this has been really fun. The
Yeah,
conversation
man.
has just ran ahead of us. If we got time for a quick mosh story to end the episode, I'd love to hear one. And that could be anything from the cross me days, the low end days, whatever days, whatever's the first thing that comes to mind for you.
Mosh story. One that pops to mind. We were on tour. The Crossing was on tour with Expire. We were playing Milan, and which sounds extravagant, but the show was just fucking shot. I think it was like this massive venue that ironically 2 months earlier Expire had played, and it was completely sold out. And they were like, "This is going to be the show." And we get there, and there's like 4 kids. So
No.
we were just having a fucking good time. We're like, fuck it, let's just mosh for each other's bands and just like have a fucking good time. So I remember I would whenever we played shows with Expire, Kip from Inclination can attest to this. I would always be like, if you play 356, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. And
Sure.
sometimes they would just pull it out of their pocket and just start doing it. And no matter where I was at in the venue, I would just like come sprinting from the way back and just massive stage dive, do the thing. So I don't think they were playing it most of that tour, and that show they just started fucking. You just hear like the ran and I was already like in the moshy area, and I just remember hearing the riff and seeing a body next to me and being like, I'm gonna annihilate this person as hard as I can. And it just so happened that person was Mitch.
Oh,
and I didn't even register in my head. I just heard the fucking power riff, and I was like,
yeah, and all you saw was red after that.
yeah. And then Mitch was the person in my way. He's unfortunately been that, not in a mosh setting, just been that person for me multiple times in my life where I'm just like in a mood and he's standing right there. I'm just like, you motherfucker.
Yeah. No, that's too funny. I love just like the the seeing red aspect when certain songs play, and just like
Mhm.
it's go time ultimately.
Go
But
time.
yeah, Jimmy, this has been a fucking blast. I'm really glad that we got to make this happen, and to keep it short
Yeah,
because I'm
man.
trying to be sensitive of your time. Shout out to the Midwest. Shout out to all the homies. If there's anything that you want to send the people off with before we wrap up, all your links will be in the description. But if you want to send the folks on whatever, the floor is yours, my friend.
Well, I appreciate you having me, and look into all the fucking scope disclosure shit because he's the fucking man. Spencer's the man. Yeah, I mean, all judiciary, low end, and Crosby. Even we're gonna have some new music out hopefully within the next year when the world isn't on fire. So keep an ear to the ground. It's gonna be badass.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I'm super excited for new music from all those projects. Jimmy, thanks again for coming on, and we'll definitely do this again sometime.
yeah, man. I had a great time. Thanks for having me.